Welcome to our video. Today we'll explore how opening up and showing our true selves can transform our relationships. We'll discuss vulnerability, share personal stories, and provide practical tips to help you embrace this powerful trait. We're joined by Dr. Carl, a licensed psychologist with over 15 years of experience in clinical practice and research in human behavior, and Dr. Emily, a specialist in the field of psychology, is here to share her insights. Drawing inspiration from the work of renowned experts like Dr. Brené Brown, she offers valuable perspectives on the power of vulnerability and emotional intelligence. Have you ever felt like opening up to someone could change everything, but you were too scared to try? This video will show how embracing vulnerability can strengthen and enrich relationships when applied smartly. Many people misunderstand vulnerability as a sign of weakness. However, it demonstrates profound strength.
Vulnerability means being open and honest about our feelings, fears, and uncertainties. In short, being authentic. When we allow ourselves to be vulnerable, we show our true selves, including our imperfections and insecurities, without fear of judgment or rejection.
Vulnerability fosters trust and intimacy in our relationships. It allows us to connect with others on a deeper level, creating a safe space for open communication and mutual understanding. By being vulnerable and building stronger and more authentic connections, we invite others to do the same.
However, embracing vulnerability can be challenging. Many of us fear judgment, rejection, or appearing weak. Overcoming these fears requires courage and a supportive environment. Practical steps include practicing active listening, expressing your feelings honestly, and setting healthy boundaries.
Remember, vulnerability is not about oversharing or being reckless with your emotions. It's about being genuine and authentic, allowing yourself to be seen and known. Embrace vulnerability, and you'll find that it can transform your relationships and lead to a richer, more fulfilling life. At the same time, being vulnerable isn't always advisable. We'll discuss that in a moment. Meet Rebecca and Kay. They've been friends for years, sharing many good times. Recently, Rebecca has been having a tough time at work. She feels overwhelmed and uncertain about her future. Ryan's feeling the pressure mounting at her job and hesitates to speak up. She fears appearing weak or incapable. One day, Rebecca decides to confide in Kay. She takes a deep breath and shares her struggles, admitting she doesn't have all the answers and fears failing.
It was terrifying to open up. I was so afraid Kay would see me differently, but I couldn't keep it inside anymore.
Kay listens without judgment. She shares her own experiences of doubt and fear, reassuring Rebecca that she's not alone.
When Rebecca opened up to me, I felt honored. It made me realize how much she trusted me. Sharing my struggles helped us connect on a deeper level.
Through this moment of vulnerability, Rebecca and Kay's friendship grew stronger. Rebecca felt a weight lifted off her shoulders, and Kay felt closer to her friend than ever.
Opening up was the best decision I made. It helped me feel supported and brought Kay and me closer together.
Vulnerability isn't about being weak. It's about being human. It's the foundation of trust and intimacy in any relationship.
Rebecca and Kay's story beautifully illustrates the power of vulnerability in building deeper connections. When Rebecca chose to open up, she took a significant risk, but the outcome was a stronger bond with Kay. This is a perfect example of how sharing our authentic selves can foster trust and intimacy.
Rebecca and Kay's story shows that vulnerability can be a powerful tool for building deeper, more meaningful connections. Don't be afraid to open up. It might bring you closer to those you care about. Many people perceive vulnerability as a weakness, but a profound strength. When we embrace vulnerability, we open the door to deeper and more meaningful connections with others. Let's explore the benefits of embracing vulnerability. 1. Vulnerability fosters trust and intimacy in relationships. By sharing our true selves, our fears, dreams, and insecurities, we invite others to do the same. This mutual openness builds trust and understanding, allowing relationships to flourish. 2. Vulnerability enhances empathy and compassion. When we're open about our struggles, it encourages others to be empathetic and supportive. This creates a space where everyone feels heard and valued, strengthening our emotional bonds. 3. Vulnerability promotes personal growth and resilience. Facing our fears and being honest about our vulnerabilities helps us overcome challenges and learn more about ourselves. It builds emotional resilience, making us stronger and more adaptable in the face of adversity. 4. Vulnerability encourages authenticity. Being vulnerable reveals our true selves without pretense. This authenticity fosters genuine connections. Others are likelier to relate to and trust the real us. 5. Vulnerability leads to greater fulfillment and happiness. Authentic relationships, built on trust and empathy, provide a sense of belonging and support. This emotional connection is key to our overall well-being and happiness. Embracing vulnerability isn't easy, but the rewards are immense. It transforms our relationships, deepens our connections, and enriches our lives in ways we might never have imagined.
While vulnerability can greatly enhance our lives, it's important to remember that not everyone deserves our vulnerability. Being vulnerable with someone can be a bad idea in certain situations. Here are a few examples. 1. Lack of trust. If you don't trust the person, or if they have betrayed your trust in the past, being vulnerable might lead to further harm. 2. Unsafe environment. If you're in an unsafe or abusive environment, sharing vulnerability could put you at risk. Prioritize your safety. 3. Professional context. In a professional setting, oversharing personal vulnerabilities might impact your reputation or career. 4. Emotional readiness. Consider whether you and the other person are emotionally ready for vulnerability. Sometimes it's better to wait until both parties are prepared. Remember that vulnerability is a powerful tool for building connections, but assessing the context and choosing wisely is essential.
Embracing vulnerability can be challenging due to common barriers like fear of judgment, rejection, and appearing weak. However, overcoming these barriers is essential for building deeper connections and personal growth. Let's explore how to overcome these obstacles. 1. Acknowledge and understand your fears. Recognize that it's natural to feel afraid of being judged or rejected. By understanding these fears, you can start to address them head-on. 2. Start small. Begin by sharing minor vulnerabilities with people you trust. This will help build your confidence in opening up and gradually increase your comfort level with vulnerability. 3. Create a supportive environment. Surround yourself with empathetic and non-judgmental people. A safe space encourages openness and reduces the fear of negative reactions. 4. Practice self-compassion. Be kind to yourself and recognize that everyone has vulnerabilities. Accepting your imperfections makes it easier to share them with others. 5. Focus on the benefits. Remind yourself of the positive outcomes of vulnerability, such as stronger relationships and personal growth. These benefits can motivate you to push through your fears. 6. Improve your communication skills. Active listening and expressing your feelings can make vulnerability feel more manageable. Good communication fosters understanding and reduces the risk of misunderstandings. 7. Seek professional support if needed. A therapist or counselor can provide guidance and strategies to help you become more comfortable with vulnerability.
Overcoming barriers to vulnerability is a gradual process, but with patience and persistence, it's achievable. Embracing vulnerability can lead to more meaningful relationships and a more fulfilling life. Understanding common fears can help in navigating these barriers effectively.
Here is a list of 10 common fears. 1. Fear of rejection. Many people fear that revealing their true selves or expressing deep emotions will lead to rejection or abandonment. This fear is often rooted in a desire for acceptance and belonging. 2. Fear of judgment. Some people fear that being open about their feelings, mistakes, or weaknesses will lead to criticism or negative judgment from others. This fear is particularly strong if they perceive the other person as critical or unsympathetic. 3. Fear of shame. Vulnerability can expose aspects of ourselves that we feel ashamed of, such as insecurities, past mistakes, or perceived flaws. The fear of being shamed or ridiculed can prevent people from opening up. 4. Fear of loss of control. Sharing personal thoughts and feelings can make individuals feel exposed and powerless, leading to a fear of losing control over their image or the situation. 5. Fear of being hurt. Emotional vulnerability can make people feel exposed to being hurt, either through emotional pain, disappointment, or betrayal. Past experiences where trust was broken often cause this fear. 6. Fear of intimacy. Some people fear the closeness that vulnerability can bring and are worried that it might lead to dependence, loss of independence, or a change in the relationship dynamic. 7. Fear of misunderstanding. There is a concern that being vulnerable will lead to misunderstandings or misinterpretations, potentially damaging the relationship or leading to conflicts. 8. Fear of weakness. Many individuals equate vulnerability with weakness, fearing that being open about their emotions or struggles will make them appear weak or less competent. 9. Fear of overwhelm. Some people fear that sharing their burdens, emotions, or problems might overwhelm or burden the other person, causing distress or pushing them away. 10. Fear of obligation. Some fear that opening up will obligate the other person to respond in a certain way, creating an uncomfortable situation or expectations they may not want to impose.
Recognizing these fears is the first step toward addressing them. It's important to remember that vulnerability should be approached with caution and discernment. Ensure you are sharing with someone who has earned your trust and can offer the support you need.
Which of these fears, if any, apply to you? Is it worth overcoming these fears to transform your relationships and personal growth? Here are some practical tips to help you embrace vulnerability effectively. 1. Start by being honest with yourself. Acknowledge your feelings, fears, and insecurities. Self-awareness is the foundation of vulnerability. 2. Choose safe spaces to open up. Begin with people you trust, friends, family, or supportive colleagues. This creates a secure environment for sharing your true self. 3. Use statements when expressing your feelings. For example, say, "I feel anxious about," instead of, "You make me feel." This focuses on your experience and reduces the likelihood of the other person becoming defensive. 4. Practice active listening. When others share their vulnerabilities, listen without judgment and offer empathy. This mutual exchange fosters deeper connections and encourages reciprocal vulnerability. 5. Set clear boundaries. Being vulnerable doesn't mean sharing everything with everyone. Decide what and with whom you feel comfortable sharing. Boundaries help maintain your emotional safety. 6. Accept and embrace imperfections. Understand that everyone has flaws and insecurities. Sharing these aspects of yourself can be liberating and help others feel more comfortable sharing theirs. 7. Take small steps. Start with minor vulnerabilities and gradually move to deeper ones. This gradual approach builds your confidence and comfort with being open. 8. Seek feedback and support. Ask trusted friends or mentors for their perspectives on your efforts to be more vulnerable. They can offer encouragement and constructive advice. 9. Be patient with yourself. Embracing vulnerability is a process that takes time. Celebrate your progress, no matter how small, and continue to practice.
By incorporating these tips, you can cultivate vulnerability in a healthy and constructive manner, leading to more meaningful relationships and personal fulfillment. Remember, vulnerability should be shared with those who have earned the right to hear your story.
Practicing vulnerability can be transformative, but also requires discernment. When opening up, ensure that you are in a safe and supportive environment. Trust is a crucial component of vulnerability, and protecting yourself emotionally is important.
Practicing vulnerability can be challenging, but here are some real-life examples and exercises to help you get started. Sharing feelings with a friend. Consider a recent situation that made you feel stressed or anxious. Next time you're with a close friend, take a deep breath and share how you felt during that situation. For instance, "I felt really overwhelmed at work this week because I wasn't sure if I was meeting expectations." Apologizing and admitting mistakes. If you've had a misunderstanding or conflict with someone, practice vulnerability by acknowledging your part in the issue. For example, I realize I was too harsh during our conversation, and I'm sorry for that. Daily reflection. Reflect on your emotions at the end of each day. Write down one thing that made you feel vulnerable and why. This exercise helps increase self-awareness and prepares you to share these feelings with others. Gratitude and appreciation. Once a week, express gratitude to someone who has positively impacted your life. It could be a simple text or a handwritten note, such as, "I really appreciate your support during my project last week. It meant a lot to me."
By incorporating these examples and exercises into your routine, you can gradually build your comfort with vulnerability, leading to stronger, more authentic connections. Remember, there is no cookie-cutter solution. What works for one person may not work for another. Don't be afraid to experiment and find out what works for you.
Now, let's take a moment to address some common questions about vulnerability and how you can engage with us. How can I start being more vulnerable in my relationships?
Start small. Share minor feelings or thoughts with someone you trust. Gradually, you'll build the confidence to share deeper emotions.
What if people judge me when I'm vulnerable?
Remember, vulnerability is a strength. If someone judges you, it reflects more on them than on you. Surround yourself with supportive people who appreciate your honesty.
How can I support someone who is vulnerable with me?
Listen actively without judgment. Show empathy and acknowledge their feelings. A simple "I understand" or "I'm here for you" can make a big difference.
We'd love to hear from you. In the comments below, share your thoughts and experiences with vulnerability. What challenges have you faced? How has embracing vulnerability impacted your relationships? Thank you for joining us on this journey into the strength in vulnerability, building deeper connections. Throughout this video, we've explored how opening up and showing our true selves can transform our relationships and personal growth. Vulnerability, often seen as a weakness, is truly a profound strength. By embracing it, we foster trust and intimacy, create spaces for empathy and compassion, and promote personal growth and authenticity. These benefits lead to deeper, more meaningful connections with those around us. We heard Rebecca and Kay's story, highlighting how sharing our fears and struggles can strengthen friendships and build trust and support. We also discussed practical tips and real-life exercises to help you start practicing vulnerability in your own life. Overcoming barriers to vulnerability, such as fear of judgment and rejection, is crucial. It requires courage and a supportive environment. But as we've seen, the rewards are immense, transforming our relationships and enriching our lives in ways we might never have imagined.
So, take that first step. Start small, be honest with yourself and others, and create a supportive network around you. Remember, vulnerability is not about being weak. It's about being genuine and authentic. Embrace it, and you'll find that it can lead to stronger, more fulfilling relationships.
Thank you for joining us on this journey into the strength in vulnerability, building deeper connections. We hope you found it insightful and inspiring. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more content on building deeper, meaningful connections. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. In our next video, Decoding Narcissistic Behavior in Women, 5 Revealing Signs, we'll explore the complex world of narcissistic behavior in women, highlighting 5 revealing signs to help you understand and recognize these traits. Whether in personal relationships or professional settings, identifying these behaviors can be crucial for maintaining healthy interactions and protecting your well-being. Join us as we decode the subtle and not so subtle signs of narcissism, offering insights and practical tips for navigating these challenging dynamics. Stay tuned. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned for more great content.